Ray Wheatley for Fightnews. I'm here with Australia's top promoter, Billy Treacy. How are you, Bill?
Yeah, good, Ray. Good, mate.
Bill, you're the manager and promoter of former IBF and WBA champ Daniel Geale. I believe he's coming back as a super middleweight, mate?
He's coming back as a super middleweight, mate. Yep.
Yeah. Do you feel he's going to be a much improved fighter at super middleweight?
I think so. I think he'll be a lot more comfortable. I think I think he's maturing as he gets a bit older, and I just think super middleweight will suit him, and I think you'll find he'll come back a lot stronger and faster.
Bill, was it a battle to make the middleweight poundage for Daniel?
With Daniel, it's always a battle.
Okay.
He puts on a fair bit of weight between fights, and he's always had to do it, and he's always been capable of doing it. The last fight was a tragedy for him. He just had to lose too much weight.
Yeah. 157 pounds.
Yeah, I just think that it was probably a little bit my fault. I should never have let him fight down at that
doesn't. No. Anyway, mate. Now coming back at super middleweight, we've got several guys from Australia that are rated in the world ratings at super middleweight. We've got Sakio Bika, who's sparred many rounds here at the Grange Gym.
Yep.
And always showed himself up very well against Sakio. Also Blake Caparello, who I believe Daniel told me that he sparred rounds with Blake Caparello. Caparello's rated with the WBO. Rohan Murdock's also well rated. He's rated with the WBO, and I believe Daniel's also sparred him. And we got WBC 6 rated Zac Dunn, who Daniel tells me he sparred them all. Would you be interested in fights with any of those Aussie-based well-rated super middleweights?
Yeah, Daniel interested in fighting any of those fighters. We've had a bit of an offer from Rohan Murdock when his fight fell over, and Blake Caparello got in touch with us just the other day. He wanted to come up and do some sparring before his fight, and earlier on the connections of Zac Dunn sort of called Daniel out that they'd like to fight him, and we'd like to fight any of those fighters, and Daniel to be capable against all of them, and Sakio Bika would be a fight that the public would probably want to see.
Yeah.
So,
their sparring sessions were very exciting.
They were.
That was good at any fight you'd go and watch.
They were always willing, mate, and it's good to see. But I'm sure in the new year when Daniel kicks off, and I'm sure that you'll see one or some of those fights will definitely come to fruition.
Bill, you've promoted several world title fights. Daniel Geale's defences here in Australia, also IBF world title fight, Lovemore Nadu. So an IBF title fight with Billy Gibb. Would you be prepared to put on a world title promotion for the world super middleweight title here in Australia?
Would love to. I think it's the best thing that can happen to boxing in Australia. If we start bringing some of the better fighters out here and start having some of the world title fights here, they sort of go overseas and it gets lost a little bit in the...
Yeah.
But would love to, mate.
Okay, so the IBF champs, James DeGale.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great fight for Daniel.
Yeah.
I think...
You've seen DeGale?
Yeah, I've seen DeGale, and it's. I think Daniel's well suited to that sort of style.
Yeah. Arthur Abraham is the WBO champ. Your thoughts on Arthur Abraham?
We've already made sort of tentative moves to sort of see if we can... But he's got to get a fight under his belt first at super middleweight, get himself rated, and then we'll look for that fight. But yeah, we'd love to go over and fight Arthur Abraham if he can stay where he is and Murray doesn't beat him or he loses his title. But whoever does, it's a fight we'd definitely be interested in.
Very interesting, okay. Now, Felix Sturm's now boxing at super middleweight. He's already had one fight at super middleweight. Would you be interested in giving Felix Sturm a rematch?
Well, I'm sure there'll be a lot of Germans that would love to see a rematch between the two of them, and I'm sure if we got the opportunity to go back over there and fight Sturm, we would definitely take the fight.
Do you feel the Felix Sturm fight was Daniel's best performance in the ring? He's fought some good fighters.
Yeah. I sort of look at his... To me, I think the best fight that I thought his fight against Karmazin was...
Roman Karmazin, who was an IBF world champion.
He fought to a game plan, and he was very... was successful. He stopped him later on in the fight.
He did.
But I look back to his fight with Chris Kariuki, and I looked at it, and he was taller. He had 21 wins for 19 knockouts.
Yep.
He was keen. He was young. He was, and Daniel absolutely, I thought was
boxed very well that night.
I thought he boxed him.
Stopped him in a late round.
Stopped him in a late round, and it sort of showed me that weight
suits him.
That super middleweight.
That was a super middleweight IBF regional title.
That's right.
Fight.
And I sort of look back on that and I think to myself, I think that's why I sort of think super middleweight. The guy was taller and it sort of suited Daniel a bit.
Yeah.
I sort of think that he'll go really good at super middleweight.
So he's going to be an improved Daniel Geale, mate, coming back at the heavier weight. Now, a fight that everyone seems to be talking about in Australia is a possible Danny Green-Anthony Mundine fight. But it seems that Anthony Mundine's not really interested. He's fighting at light middleweight. Danny Green fights at cruiserweight. Would you be interested in Daniel moving up and fighting Danny Green, and Danny Green possibly to fight him at light heavyweight poundage?
Well, I approached, we approached the connections of Danny Green and said Daniel would be willing to fight him at light heavyweight.
Right.
And they came back and said that they'd be interested in fighting Daniel at 83 kilos. I sort of didn't have much of an interest in that, so that's where it stands at the moment. But would Daniel like to fight him at light heavyweight? Daniel would love to fight him.
So 80 kilos, 175 pounds?
80 kilos, we'll fight him tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like an interesting fight, Bill. Okay, Bill, thanks for your time, mate.
Thanks very much, Ray.
Best of luck for the future.
Appreciate that, buddy.
Cheers, Bill. All the best, mate.